Hey everyone, welcome back. It's Lainey, and for my first video for this holiday season, I am going to make a cute little card with this Narwhal whale here. This is from Fawn, as you can see, and I have the coordinating die, and I also am going to incorporate this add-on from Fawn, this beautiful detailed snowflake, and I've already taken the liberty of cutting it out, and it's on this really pretty shimmery, kind of like a mother of pearl. I really like it, and I thought it would pair great with this blue cardstock that I have pulled. But I wanted to show you that this paper came from this paper pack, and it is in shimmer. All the colors are in shimmer, excuse me. And this is from Joann's craft store, or Joann Fabrics. Just wanted to let you know that if you really liked this cardstock there. Gonna move this aside, and let's just go ahead and get started. So this is going to be our card panel in blue, and we are going to pair it, flip this over, there we go. We're going to pair it together like this. First off, we've got to get some stamping done, and I want to do that first so I can let my ink dry before we start coloring. So just going to get this set up here. Okay, coming in with my mini Misty, I do want to point out that I do have this foam pad in here, and it is meant to just elevate this platform for these types of stamps. I'm also going to come in with a scrap piece of paper. This is a 110-pound cardstock, and I'm trying to get a right angle there. Okay, that fits a little better. And let's just go ahead and get this little guy stamped out. Reposition the paper. Coming in with my Memento Tuxedo black ink, and we are just going to stamp this guy up. I absolutely love Fawn stamps. The impressions are so clean and crisp, and I also like the thick line that it gives you as well. Kind of reminds me of children's coloring book. You know how they can stay in the lines because those lines are quite a bit thicker in kids coloring books. Okay, making sure that this is aligned and just pressing down to get that stamped out. Okay, very good. And I'm going to move this guy over, and I'm going to stamp it twice, and I'm going to do that just to prepare for any coloring snafus that may occur, so I don't have to repeat this process if I start coloring and I mess up. I'm already going to have a little extra guy here. And once more, I'm just going to darken him up just a bit. Okay, beautiful. Let's go ahead and move this aside and let that dry. I'm going to come in with my chamois and go ahead and just wipe him off. It's time to wash this thing. Yeah, it's getting a little debris on it. Okay, and let's go ahead and put him back where he belongs so nothing gets lost, because these are tiny little things. Okay, putting this aside, and let's go ahead and move on to the next step. All right, so here we have the panel, and I'm going to use this embossing folder. It's a 3D embossing from Sizzix, and you can see all of those really pretty snowflakes there. And we need to cut this down and then emboss our folder. So let's go ahead and pick our sizing. These are A2 cutting dies from Waffle Flower. I'm going to bring in my panel real quick and use this as just a little guide. So this is the third one down, and I want to leave a little white margin of the base, but not too much. And so that was the third one down, and then this is the, you know what, I think we're going to go with the, I think we're going to go with this one, the fourth one down. It gives us a little more margin there. Okay. Moving all of that stuff aside, and I'm going to go ahead and cut this down a bit so I can run it through my Spellbinders. Okay, and coming in with a little washi tape here, I'm just going to go ahead and tape this down. I prefer to tape down my dies so I can position the dies in a way where I save as much material as possible, and you know, it doesn't shift around as you're running it through your machine. Okay, now let's get this cut out. Placing it in my machine, and let's run this through. I do have new plates coming. Oh, if you can hear that. I do have new plates coming because these are, they're tired. They need to be replaced. Okay. Let's just pop this guy out very carefully, trying not to let that washi tape snag our paper. It's a very low tack, but sometimes it gets me. And this is our nice side that we want to use for our panel. So just being very careful and attentive of that. Saving those little pieces up there. And now let's come in with our embossing folder. And I'm going to go ahead and take my spray bottle here. This is just from Dollar Tree. This is just water. And I'm going to spritz this just one time just to help the embossing folder manipulate this paper a little easier. And I'm trying to get this aligned in here while leaving a area down at the bottom that's even. Sorry, I can't talk and, okay. Is that straight? Okay, so we're not going to run the entire panel through because I want to leave this area here for our sentiment, and this will just emboss obviously this area here, and it will cut off, and it'll kind of, hopefully it'll appear as a gradient. So just kind of trying to make sure that it's straight. There we go. Okay, now let's run this through our Platinum 6 once more. Trying to figure out our sandwich here. This embossing folder is quite thick, so it might be a little difficult. I'm just going to slowly run this through as well. Perfect. And you can see there how it just cuts off, but it's not a harsh cut off. It's soft considering all the details that were imprinted. Okay, moving this aside and bringing in our little wells again. Let's bring in our snowflake. Okay, so I have some alcohol markers pulled, and these are from 3 different sets that I purchased from Amazon. So I'll link all 3 down below because I'm not sure which marker belongs to which set. Oh, and I also have a jelly roll pen in metallic. I just want to point out real quick that these are both neutral gray 02. It's the same number as well, CG020, and they're different colors. So let me show you real quick. Okay, so quite different in colors. So we're going to go in with the lighter color, and I'm going to, I don't know, I outline my character and then I fill it in. And I really like these markers in particular, because it has this fine nib here, I really like coloring with this fine tip. And if I need more, if I have a more surface area to color, I have this brush here. So I really like these markers, and they work pretty well for the price. So can't beat that. I'm always trying to save money where I can, and these markers have been a really good investment. I love them. Okay, so just outlining this little guy like I said, and then I'll just fill him in. Okay, so now we have all the base colors, and I do have a darker color pulled for the gray and the pink. I don't think I'm going to use the darker ones. I think I'm just going to use the lighter version and just build up the color with a couple more layers. So I like to let this set and dry before I add a second layer, just so I can really see what's going on, because the colors wet and dry are different. So I just kind of want to let this set for a moment and just kind of see how this starts to how it starts to look as it dries. Just helping it dry a bit. Okay, so let's come back in with our lighter gray, just testing it out there. And I'm just going to go along this left edge just to add a little shadow. But I'm going to keep him on the lighter side. I just wanted a little detailing there, and I'm going to go ahead and color in this area on his belly, the entire thing, and try to darken this area up. Okay, just going to come in with this darker shade of pink and add a little contrast to the scarf. And I was researching this little guy here, and they only live in Arctic waters, so I felt that the blue and the snowflakes were fitting. They can live under the sea ice for up to 4 to 5 months for winter. It has to be really, really, really cold. So this is going to be a little winter wonderland for this little guy. Okay, so moving my markers aside, now I'm going to come in with my metallic jelly roll pen and once more just test it out. And I just want to add little circles around this little guy. No methodical reason, I just want to go along the edges. So let me go ahead and do that. And let's turn our work a bit and just go along the bottom. Not quite sure how they breathe, being that they are a whale and they are under the Arctic ice, but thought this was fascinating reading about this little guy. Okay, so I'm going to let that dry before I run it through my die cutting machine because it will smear. Okay, so let's move this aside and let's go ahead and bring in our card base. This is an A2 size card and it is a top folding card in a portrait orientation. I'm going to go ahead and open it up and use my magnets and get that stationed there. We are just going to go ahead and build up our card while that dries. You know what? No, we are not. We need to work on a sentiment. Almost got ahead of myself. Okay, so I'm gonna bring in our mini Misty once more. I'm gonna get this positioned in the corner and I am gonna do some embossing powder. I'm gonna come in with some anti-static and just put that down there at the bottom. And now let me pull. I have this Holiday Gnomes from Spellbinders and I want to use this Merry Christmas. There were some other sentiments. Let me show you real quick. I have these other sentiments here from Spellbinders as well, and I recently purchased these for the holiday season because it's some of it is universal, but most of it is, you know, Christmas greetings, eat, drink, and be merry, missing you at Christmas, baked with love. Let's see. The one that, oh, sending snowflake kisses. I really wanted to, or baby, it's cold outside. Those two I was contemplating on, but they're just so fine. So I thought that pulling in this sentiment here would work better. So let's go ahead and take this out and show you the texture of that Merry Christmas there. Just has some detailing in there, which I really liked. So, okay. So just going to go ahead and get this aligned here the best that I can. Ooh, it barely fits. Barely, barely. Maybe we have to do something else. Well, crud. Let me think. Let me think. I feel that this panel needs to be bigger because this is quite large. So what I'm going to do real quick is just go ahead and recut this and emboss it, and then I will be right back for this stamping. Okay, I'm back, and I went one size up, and this will work better. So I have just this aligned here and trying to get the sentiment aligned the best that I can with that little area. Okay, so coming back in with my anti-static, just doing a little swipe there. Now I need to grab my Versamark, and we're just going to stamp this up real quick. Okay, perfect. It makes me a bit nervous to try to restamp it because this might shift too much, so I'm just going to stamp it once. So now coming in with my embossing powder in white, super fine detail, I am just going to sprinkle this on our stamp, let it set for a moment, and then dust it off. I'm going to go in once more. And just tap off the excess here. Alright, yes, that looks like a good impression. So just going to set that aside real quick. Before I bring out my heat gun, I want to put this back so I don't have embossing powder flying all around my space. Alright, I'm going to come in with my heat gun. I'm going to put it on high heat, let this heat up for a moment, and then apply it to my paper and watch this embossing powder melt. Okay, I love watching it melt. It is so cool. But you can see the little details in that stamp there. It's not a complete, full, thick stamp, if that makes any sense. Okay, so now coming back in with our card base and build this up. It is a little warped from embossing it, so I'm going to come in with this adhesive here, and this is from Dollar Tree. And I'm just going to apply strips along the back of this just to help it flatten out and become a little more substantial for our card. Yep, see, that one strip already helps straighten it out. Our last strip. So let's go ahead and get this little guy cut out. I need to find, I've got such a mess going on right now. Okay, found him. Go ahead and get this set up here. Lining this the best that I can. Sorry if my head's in the way. Okay, I'm going to come in with that washi tape that we used before for cutting down our panel and just tape that little guy down and run it through our platinum. And let's pop this guy out. And there's our little Narwhal. How stinking cute. Okay, so I definitely want to build this up. So what I'm going to do is just position the die on this cardstock and cut this out 2 additional times. Okay, now I've got the third cut out, and before I move on, I'm going to go ahead and clean this guy off and put him back where he belongs as well. Okay, there we go. So let's bring in our little wells here, and I'm going to come in with my Barely Art glue and just glue these together so our Narwhal is a little more substantial. And I like to build up with paper with little characters like this. So 1 and 2. They're all glued together, and just going to position those guys real quick. Oh yeah, he's a lot more sturdy with 3 layers. And just move it in. I'm going to turn this over and remove the backers of our double-sided tape so we can get our panel placed on our card base. Okay. And very carefully coming in, carefully and slowly, trying to get this aligned the best that I can. Okay. Perfect. Man, that foam tape makes a world of a difference. Okay, so now we need to come in with our snowflake. And I just want to center align it and position, you know, the point of the snowflake as it's shown here. And I'm just using this as a guide real quick. I'm going to go ahead and glue down our center. Just going to hold that in place for a moment. It is a little more difficult for this to adhere to this textured background. So just giving it a little pressure, helping those 2 materials adhere. Okay. And I'm gonna go in with our glue once more and just very quickly and carefully, try not to be too messy here. Gonna add the glue. You could use spray adhesive, but I feel like sometimes the spray adhesive just doesn't stick to a textured background like this glue does. Alrighty, and gonna position this just like so. Is it aligned? It is. And what I'm gonna do now is turn this over on my glass mat and apply the magnets down, and that is just going to keep it in place and help those materials adhere to, that is the wrong lid, just to help that adhere with that pressure. And I'm going to go ahead and put that up and just let this set for a moment and let this get glued down. Okay, let's turn this guy over and see. Perfect. All right, let's get it stuck down once more. And now I'm going to come in with some tweezers and let's figure out where we want to position this little guy. We can do it right justified, or we can do it anywhere. Let's see. Centered. No, I don't like it up high for some reason. I like it further down. Yeah, I like it right there. So we're going to do it right justified on the lower half of the panel. And so his tail is kind of interacting with the panel there. I'm going to come in with these little pop dots. These again are from Dollar Tree. Now that we know our placement, I'm going to turn him over and just use my weeding tool here to add these little pop dots. And I'm just going to go along the edge and then fill in the middle if I need to with like one or two, because this is such a small little guy. Let's see. And I'm just doing this to help protect him. You know, we built him up to help him become more substantial, and now, you know, I worry like maybe the tail will get pulled off. So, you know, I just want as much stickiness as I can. Well, come on. Okay. Seems that I need to add a little glue to the tail there. Let me do that real quick. Okay. Alrighty, now let's come in with our little cutie, and we'll just place him right there. Alright, and that is our finished card. I love this little thing. I think he is so cute, and it's super easy coloring, super simple card. You could definitely make in bulk if you wanted to, but I just love how that snowflake has that shimmer in it. I love the physical texture that this 3D embossing folder provides, and the dimension as well with our panel and our little well. I love it. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. Please consider liking, sharing, and subscribing. I have a lot of fun Christmas videos to come, and I can't wait to see you then. Alright guys, thanks for watching again. Bye.